Well, let's jump straight in, Tim, because in the last episode, in episode 115, Tim's idea was called Creativity Now. Again, not the best name, but we've come to expect that from you. But what it lacked in a name, it made up for as a fertile ground for a podcast. Because the idea basically was to create something on the spot, a way of getting out of writer's block or a creative log jam, was to put you on the spot and come up with an idea then and now. And what Tim and I did was, well, we started crafting a song. Tim cracked out the guitar, David Brent style. I went into my special place for lyrics, drew on my experiences, that deep well of hurt and angst.
Wow, a well. What a beautiful analogy. You just have lyrics flowing out of you. I've never never heard of the soul being described as a well before, man. That's really...
I know. It's more of a cesspit, if I'm honest, but
a bore. Yes.
A stagnant pond. So the song we started writing was called "The Man in Black is Back." And it was inspired by me looking at the screen, seeing Tim sitting there in front of his microphone in basically the same outfit he's wearing now.
Exactly the same outfit, a warm jumper and my cap.
He's got the dark black shirt and a jumper and a cap, which Tim insists is blue, but I'm calling it as black. And basically the place I went to was a cold Monday night in Adelaide. Tim trudging in to the church where he works in his little side office, switching on the lights on a dark night and having to churn out another podcast. This kind of, while all of Adelaide sleeps, the Man in Black's there doing his job, doing his duty for podcasting.
You make me sound like the priest in Eleanor Rigby, you know. Father Mackenzie, that's right, sitting alone in his dark.
All right.
Yes.
So anyway, we wrote the first verse, and for those who don't remember, I will give you a little bit of a flashback. Here's what we came up with.
The man in black is back. The man in black and a black cap. It's Monday night, another hot night at the pod mic. It's Monday night, a lonely man and a street light. Hey, the man in black is back.
So there it is. And Tim laid down the challenge for other people out there to finish the job, to turn it into an actual song. I think we've planted the seed. We've done the hard work, and we've crossed the ball into the center, and we've invited people now just to knock it into the goal and finish the song. Yeah. Would you think, is this an easy challenge? In other words, is this a bit like, okay, I've just sat down and I've written half of Eleanor Rigby, the song I mentioned before, classic Beatles song, and you're asking people basically to pop on the last verse? Or is this more like I've given them 3 chords and they really have crafted Eleanor Rigby out of something very rudimentary? Is this a stone or a diamond? What is it? I mean, we're really just inviting them just to put the full stop on our magic sentence, aren't we? But no, of course there is much to be done to turn this into a proper song. And we've had some submissions, and frankly, my socks have been knocked off by the quality of some of these submissions. It's really been amazing. People have taken this bowl and run with it, and they have run in some very impressive touchdowns, in my opinion. I know, man. This has really been quite incredible. I mean, the entire canon of sofa shop covers was impressive and reached heights we could not imagine. But I just feel like, well, that was more about the quantity. It's the quality that's really coming to the fore with the Man in Black. It's I'm really quite amazed. Let's start with my favourite. Normally you would save the best for last, but I just want to put it out there. I love this. I love all of them. You're in for numerous treats, but this is the one that really tickled me. This has been sent in by Finn and Kaya. And Finn has written this email. Hello, Brady and Tim. My name's Finn. I'm from Bristol, which is near where I live, and I've been a lover of the podcast for a while now, but have only recently bought some recording equipment. So I'm too late for a sofa shop cover. You're actually not, Finn, but we'll get back to that later.
Yeah.
But very happy to be able to join in with this. Thankfully, my girlfriend has more than my non-existent singing ability, so you have been spared from my own singing, although, as you'll hear, I have done some spoken word sections, which can only be described as absolutely gorgeous. Hope you get a kick out of it, as we had a blast making it. Cheers, and keep up the excellent podcasting from Finn and Kaya. So, here it is. Enjoy.
The man in black, the man in black is back. The man in black, the man in black and a black cap. It's Monday night, another hard night at the bar, Mike. It's Monday night, a lonely man and a street light, Sinner, sinner, chicken dinner.
He's a man in black.
Promised us foods, but all we've got is booze.
And he's back. The man is back.
The man in black, the man in black has a KFC snack.
He gave in to his craving.
But the man in black, the man in black's gonna bounce back, gonna bounce back. The man looks up, moonlight bright on the altar.
The moon's full.
The road is long, but the man in black never falters, never falters. Sinner, sinner, chicken dinner.
He's a man. That much we know.
100 puckles in, the ideas are running thin.
And he's in black. Always in black. The man slowly turns, staring across the graveyard. He adjusts his obsidian cap to obscure his eyes and withdraws from his pocket a golden spoon. The man in black is back.
Now, let me tell you, Brady, you could put that on the radio today. That is amazing. I think that's fantastic.
Brilliant.
Incredible.
Brilliant.
Wow. I mean,
Can I tell you, Tim, I got sent this one and I opened the email on my phone and I happened to be in the car and I played it on my car stereo, and my car's got quite a good stereo and it sounded amazing. If you have a chance to listen to this with good headphones or on something other than just your tinny phone or however you're listening to a podcast, this is beautifully produced. Kaya's got a banging voice. It's amazing. Sounds amazing for starters.
it does. It does. It's really well produced. And I tell you, whatever recording equipment you've just bought, Finn and Kaya, keep it. It's a fantastic. You're pumping out the hits. This is, I have to say, thinking a bit more deeply, I've been listening to this, and I think I can hear a few influences in there. Now, this is no disrespect to the originality brought by Finn and Kaya, but I have to say, there's a little bit of David Bowie in this, particularly in the sort of segue to the bridge. Quite a bit of David Bowie, and I like that.
Yeah.
But there's also a little bit, the dark undertone, the voice that comes in is a little bit of an Australian artist I really love called Dave Graney. And there's a little bit of a cheeky, deep voice there of Dave Grady, and I really like that. But then it soars. Then I can hear a bit of Blondie or even a bit of Patti Smith, and that was really fantastic. Yeah, really, you could put that on the radio. It's so well done. Can I also say I like the has a KFC snack gonna bounce back little couplet. I thought that was a good lyric too. That was good.
Well, I do love Sinner, Sinner, Chicken Dinner, which is a play on the phrase winner, winner, chicken dinner as well, which I thought was quite clever.
Yeah.
Besides sounding great, right, and being like a good song, can I say why this is my personal favourite? And that is, this is the one that really captures what I was trying to do when I was like, throwing some lyrics at you. It really captures the mood of nighttime, and also I really like the religious sort of undercurrent going through it, because I really had this picture of you at the church in the annex, and we've got like references to sinners and altars, and there's all this kind of giving in to cravings, and that has a real kind of it has this kind of religious undercurrent which I wanted to convey, because your job as a church minister, I wanted to be a little bit intertwined in there. So I really think it's really clever, the moon, and the moonlight on the altar. So it's taking in like moons and spoons and KFC and chicken and things from our like the lore of Unmade, but it's also got this really like a churchy religious feel, which really worked for me.
Yeah. The sacred and the profane together. It is. It's very clever, and it's really well written. And I'm not just saying that because I wrote it. No, I like they took it in a different direction. Very high quality. What a way to start.
I actually assumed Kaya was a singer. I emailed back Finn, and Finn's only a bit of an amateur musician. He tells me, like he does a bit of amateur recording, and he's in a band that he says isn't that great. But he didn't big himself up very much. But I assumed from his email maybe Kaya was a singer, and she just got roped into doing this. But apparently she's just a in the shower singer banging out the songs. But I really enjoyed her voice.
Are we sure this isn't Neil Finn? It's from Crowded House. Very impressive.
Anyway.
Strong start. Good work.
Let's move on. I heard from Amelia in South Africa. Hello, Tim and Brady. Unmade has helped me tremendously over the last few years. My sincere gratitude to both of you. I think it's only fitting that I contribute to my favourite show at the Pod Mic. The message of the creativity in our podcast resonates with me. Art is way more satisfying if you just start and don't stop. Let your intuition guide you. I would like to present to you my rendition of The Man in Black and a Black Cap. Guitar, bass and vocals by me, drums by my good friend Logan, also known as the garage band Classic Rock Drumming AI. Love and hugs from South Africa, yours most sincerely, Amelia. Take it away, Amelia.
This here's a song about a man wearing a black cap. The man in black. The man in black. The man in black is back. The man in black. The man in black and a black cap. A Monday night, a lonely night at the Pod Mic. A Monday night, a lonely man by a street light. Waiting for the light of his best friend's blinding light. Waiting patiently to Skype, yeah, his spoon by his side.
I have to say, what I hear in this one, Brady, this is got a bit of a mid-90s coffee shop acoustic guitar in the corner kind of performance about it. You know what I mean? That sort of, it's like...
Yeah.
There was a whole stream in the mid-90s of these female artists, Sarah McLachlan and Lisa Loeb, Fiona Apple, Liz Phair. They sort of, were sitting in the middle of a Seattle in the corner of a Seattle coffee shop with an acoustic guitar, playing very sincere songs and often very clever songs. And I see this right there. There was a festival called Lilith Fair where a lot of them went and performed. It was like just female performers. And I can see this performance appearing at the Lilith Fair.
It's interesting you say that, because this is the one that I feel had a little bit of like love and longing in it. Like it had that kind of feeling like she kind of loves the man in black, or he's the man that got away or something. It has this kind of this heartache and this longing to it that I quite enjoyed. So
I think what I really appreciate is all the performances are able to tap into the wild and dangerous spirit at the heart of my work. And I think they're able to... my deepest work. And that's something that I think only a true artist can tap into. And these four artists have done very well.
Yeah, all right.
Have you noticed the dark, wild and dangerous spirit at the heart of my work?
Oh, I mean, it inspired my lyrics. You are the Elton John to my Tim Rice.
That's right. Don't you mean Bernie Taupin? Tim Rice?
Oh, I'm thinking of The Lion King.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Which is Elton John's peak.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Now we have Debbie. Debbie wrote a long email. I won't read the whole email, Debbie, just for time reasons, but we did read it all and really appreciated it.
Yep.
Debbie says, Brady, I'm just an old lady, well, older-ish, who loves the podcast. I don't do chat or comments or Reddit or tweets, so this is very unlike me. To quote my daughter, Brady, what have you done to my mom? However, the chance to tinker with a, shall we say, memorable song has proven irresistible. I haven't been playing guitar much lately, but I did try to be true to Tim's style and fancy licks. Added a variation of the melody to create some verses, only slightly altered your poetic words, and, in case you don't recognise them, went into back episodes to find authentic secret words. After numerous takes using voice memos, this, I think, is as good as it will get. If you are reading this, I have figured out how to attach the file and was brave enough to hit send. That's from Debbie, and take it away, Debbie.
The man in black is back. The man in black and a black hat. He's really rather blue. His friend don't have a clue what he's feeling. The talk of Lita Moon and 2 Parisian spoons left him reeling. It's a Monday night, another lonely night at the pot mine. It's a Monday night, the lonely man looks out at the street light. He'd like to go out there, but there's danger everywhere in the dark night. He'd walk on up the road, but KFC, so he's been told, is open late night. Get thee behind me, Colonel. The man in black, the man in black is back. The man in black, the man in black and a black hat. He opens up the tin, his supper has come in, he'll eat a bite soon. But he is so displeased, spinach soup is all he sees, and again he's lost his spoon. The man in black, the man in black is back. The man in black, the man in black and the black hat. So he'll sit and strum real low, singing all the words he knows if he remembers. Cowboy school asparagus, mini corn and apricot and waffles. Oh, nailed it. The man in black, the man in black is back. He's back, Brady, he's back. The man
and a black hat, oh, a little black hat. The man in black, the man in black is back. New Year's is bucket day. The man in black, the man in black, and a black hat.
Well, I don't know if that's Debbie or Stevie Nicks, to be honest. That's straight off a Fleetwood Mac album, isn't it? Don't you reckon? That's right next to Gold Dust Woman or something. It's really quite something.
I have to say, when I read all those self-deprecating words and Debbie describing herself as being a bit older and recording it on voice memo, when I hit play, I was expecting the worst. I was expecting something pretty cringy, if I'm honest. And I was like, bloody hell, this is really good.
Yeah.
Take it away, Debbie.
Yeah.
She's belting it out. Loved it.
Some good lyrical play there as well, but this I think in particular is one that taps into that wild and dangerous spirit at the heart of my work that I was mentioning earlier. Because I can tell.
Are wild and dangerous your secret words today or something?
My agents told me to repeat that ad nauseum. He's wild and dangerous.
Jim's new image.
The Manning.
At least we know what this episode's going to be called.
I think Debbie. Well, I mean, this is an honest and a passionate rendering. Yes, I think there's a knowing, lived aura to this particular rendition. But Debbie, no, she does. She has done some good lyrical work there too. Improved a lot, I think, on your work, which is good. Particularly appreciated.
There's something I took away from this, and it applies also to the next song we're going to play, and that is both this song and the next one includes the word Brady in it, in reference to me.
Yeah.
And I find when I hear my name in both these songs, it completely rips me out of the song in a really jarring and uncomfortable way. And I can't decide if it's because that's my name and I recognise it, and it's even more my name because it is literally referring to me, and that just distracts me. Or is the word Brady just a really bad word to put in a song? Is it this not a very musical word? Because I find the word Brady in a song completely unacceptable.
While you're talking, I've been looking up references to Brady in songs, and the only thing that comes up is that there are 16 references to Tom Brady in hip-hop songs. So, so if Tom Brady didn't exist, I think this would be the first occasion that you have found your way into.
There's got to be. Well, there's the Brady Bunch.
Well, the theme song to the Brady Bunch. I didn't want to mention that, but you have.
All right. Yeah. So, last but certainly not least, this is someone who's contributed a few songs to our Sofa Shop canon. Very talented songwriter, clearly, under the names of Chippendale and Nick Cave and the Good Seats. You can go back and find those in our Sofa Shop collection. But he's reformed himself as a new supergroup, he says, called the Scoopy Bits, to create this version of the Man in Black. So take it away, the Scoopy Bits.
The man in black is back. The man in black and a black cap. It's Monday night, a lonely night at the pod mic. It's Monday night, a lonely man and a street light, baby. Pour an iced coffee, it's about to get real. It's been 9 months since his last KFC meal. Lock your kitchen drawers, call Tommy Boy headquarters. The hindhorn's back and he's got nothing to lose. Busted out of prison, man who's on a mission. He's creeping out to steal your souvenir spoons. It's some time for stealing some high-grade lettuces. Now he's out, he's chasing his bedhead nemesis. Brady, better watch out for the cutlery thief. He's sneaking up behind you on Halifax Street. Lock your kitchen drawers, call Tommy Boy headquarters. The hindhorn's back and he's got nothing to lose. Busted out of prison, man who's on a mission. He's creeping out to steal your souvenir spoons. The man in black, yeah, he is back. Oh, hide your spoons, he's on the attack. Watch out for the man in black. Fear and dread going round and round, from Adelaide to Traralgon town. Your time is up and you're going down if you ever hear his dreaded sound.
Well, clearly this is, and the title suggested as well of their name, referencing Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, the great Nick Cave. Particularly his early work, which was sort of influenced by real southern sort of music, the swampy sounds of the Mississippi Badlands. But he's...
Wild and dangerous.
Wild and dangerous times.
It's very Red Right Hand at the start, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, like a sort of southern novel. But I have to say, in the middle, he does find a new voice, though, doesn't it? I think it takes off suddenly with this soaring kind of voice. And
well, the soaring is the word I wrote down, because last episode when you requested where you wanted this taken, you said you wanted a bit of soaring to happen, and this song does. Yeah, it starts moody, but it really does soar in the middle, doesn't it?
It does. It's an eagle. And it sounded...
A wild and dangerous eagle.
Wild and dangerous eagle. I can't... It sounds so familiar, and I can't place a reference for that singing. It's real pop craftsmanship. I really like it. Then the guitar comes in, a real bluesy sort of lick, like an Eric Clapton or even a Mark Knopfler or someone like that. That's really cool.
Yeah. I love the way he sings the line, "Pour an iced coffee, it's about to get real. It's been 9 months since his last KFC meal." I love that. I just love the way he sings it. Yeah,
it's cool. There's a couple I like. You're in here a couple of times as well, but this one doesn't mention you. But it says he did some time for stealing some high grade lettuces. Now he's out chasing his bedhead nemesis.
Rhyming lettuces and nemesis is the highlight of the song, without doubt.
That's good.
and also trying to sing the word Traralgon, which is an even worse word to sing than Brady.
That's right. Brady, better watch out for the cutlery thief. He's sneaking up behind you on Halifax Street. I like that one too.
That's good. That's good. And this is a proper song. This is like this has all the elements of a song, doesn't it? It's like I don't know what they're all called, but it's like this is a well constructed song.
It is. This is and well recorded too. He's obviously got some folks in. They've done it together as the Scoopy bits. But I tell you, so this one and the first one, I think, I mean, thanks everyone for sending them in. Really great. But this one and the first one, put on the radio today. Like, just play them. I think they're fantastic. That's great.
Put them on the radio.
Really great work.
Lots of other people have sent in just lyrics without music, which we appreciate and we're having a look at, and they're good fun. But of course, not quite so good for a podcast. So everyone who sent in lyrics, thank you very much. I might put some of them in the show notes, a link so people can have a look on the website and whatnot. But you know, obviously the ones that have actually been recorded and sung are a lot easier for me to share today. So thanks everyone, and we're still welcoming more submissions. If you feel inspired and want to make a Man in Black with a black cap song, use our first verse. We hope you'll use our first verse. That's kind of the jumping off point, and from there, take it where you like.
It'd be good to hear some real departures now. I know that there's a real bluesy feel to it, but I'd be interested in hearing some, you know what I mean? Something that's a bit of a radical departure. Like a Pet Shop Boys kind of version.
Careful what you wish for. Tim, I believe as we're recording, the Royal Adelaide show is in town. One of the things I miss most about my time in Adelaide is the annual Royal Adelaide show, where all the people from the country come to Adelaide to show off their cows and sheep and plants and farm equipment and whatnot, which is the boring part. Your parents drag you around. and then to the side of that, there's the fun fair and the roller coasters and all the rides. And most important of all, the showbags. I'm sure we've talked about showbags before. In fact, I know we've talked about showbags before, which is this huge pavilion at the showground where all the different brands like Coca-Cola and Mars and Minties and whatnot will sell these plastic bags full of food and goodies and toys and things. And when you were a kid, you used to go to this hall of hundreds of show bags with your list of 3 or 4 that you hope your mum and dad might buy you. Did you go and check out the show bags, Tim?
Oh, did I? I was dragged there. It's always the climax of our show day.
Oh, it was always at the end.
Yeah. Because you don't want to carry them around all day. So, yeah.
Yeah.
And it builds up to the big thing you do before you leave. Just before the final donuts. It's on the walk back to the car.
And it's also a good blackmail thing for your parents. Like, if you don't behave, you're not going to get your show bags. So you're like, all right, I'll do anything for those show bags. How many show bags were bestowed upon your young ones? It's always, you always have that rich friend whose parents would buy them like 13 show bags.
Yeah.
And you're like, 13 show bags? I think the most I was ever allowed was 4, maybe.
4? Wow. I was.
How many show?
Well, as a kid, only 1, but I do remember getting the Rambo show bag and the Chips show bag and stuff.
Oh, hang on! I want to play Tim's sad, poor music when he talks about how he only got 1 show. let me play some.
We were in Traralgon, so I think we only had the leftovers from the Melbourne show that made it down there. They sort of got the stuff left over and put them into other bags and combined them and go, it's a Twisties Hey Hey It's Saturday combined bag.
So how many show bags were your daughters permitted?
Well, generally we allow them 2, but this year, I tell you what, something that's happened, because we haven't had the show for a couple of years because of COVID, so they're a bit older now, and let me tell you, they're a bit cooler about the show bags. So they both just wanted 1. So
right,
yeah,
but like in a minimalist, cool way, like that's for the kids.
Yeah,
Okay.
I know. I was bouncing up and down, all excited about them all, but it was just more like, no. But
1 show bag.
It would do, and they are leaning more to one of them certainly leaning more to the caramello, koala, chocolatey kind of treat show bag rather than the, Barbie, themed. How there's always like the toy themed ones, and then there's like the lobby.
Yeah, there are the 2 schools of show bag. There are the toy brand ones that have got things in them like toys, and they're always cheap tat things.
Harry Potter,
and then you've got your
Star Wars, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you've got your confectionery, bad for your teeth food show bags.
Yeah, and that stuff's awesome.
Yeah.
So,
all right. So one of them went like caramello, koala, chocolatey. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And the other one, when it was kind of a combined show bag with me, but she was very keen and very determined, and I didn't know this show bag would be at the show. In fact, I was shocked it would be there, but it's very much on brand for the Unmade podcast. And that is that she got the Seinfeld show bag, which
Seinfeld.
I'm holding up here.
Tim's holding it up.
There we go. Look at this.
Oh, wow.
Can you believe it? This TV show finished, 23 years ago? And
yeah.
now my youngest daughter wants the show bag from it.
Does she like Seinfeld? Does she watch it with you? Does
Oh
she?
yeah, she loves it. She really, really loves it. Yeah. Well, I have to edit some of the episodes, but I have to say, there's the crazy Kramer coming in, and there's funny moments, and as she gets older, she likes more and more of it.
So, shall we perhaps have a live unbagging here on the podcast? Can you show me what's in the show bag?
I can. It's really. I'm just opening it up now. There's.
Well, let's have a bit of Foley work there. Oh, nice sound effects.
Oh yeah. No, so it's all inside a plastic bag inside the bag.
Oh, kind of like how babies in the womb are in those. You know how babies are in that plastic. That not plastic, but babies are in that bag, aren't they? Until the waters break. It's like it's got its own waters in there.
You could almost be forgiven for thinking it's been put together in a factory in China and just shipped out here into a show bag.
Because that was always the thing with show bags. Everything was just loosely thrown in the plastic bag, wasn't it? But this is kind of a bit more sterile.
Yeah.
Pre-prepared.
Whoa! Oh, hang on. It's all falling out. There we go.
Oh, your waters are broken.
You really are a new dad, aren't you? You really are.
All right, now that you've popped the bag,
All right.
what have we got?
Here we go. First one this is pretty cool. This is a Pretzel Key Ring.
I'm going to assign your daughter to take a photo of each of these for us so I can share them with people.
It's sort of a metal pretzel. Because of the classic line, these pretzels are making me thirsty, which is what Kramer has on a Woody Allen film. Anyway, so I won't explain the in-joke of all of them. There's some playing cards. I'll get this on.
Seinfeld playing cards.
There's a golf ball, the classic episode, probably the most favourite of mine, the marine biologist.
Yeah.
And here's a box, and there's something in the box. Oh, here we go. This is a coffee cup. Because of that episode where they drank coffee.
Yeah, okay. Coffee mug.
There is a roll of toilet paper for Elaine's spare a square toilet paper. There are some Seinfeld socks with pretzels on them again. They're leaning heavy into the pretzel thing.
You know, we were going to start the tradition of sending socks to viewers.
Oh,
Can we send
yes.
those socks to viewers?
Well, yes, maybe we could. That's a good idea. I will have to get the permission of the showbag owner who may be looking forward to wearing them. But
Oh, okay.
That might
Well,
be
let's not
something
make any
inside.
promises about the socks then.
there is the ocean. The Calvin Klein Smells Like the Beach Perfume Ocean air freshener to hang in your car. What's the bet that doesn't smell anything like the ocean?
Yeah.
There is a yada 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 little credit card pouch thing that sticks to the back of your phone protector. There is a Seinfeld jigsaw puzzle. This is not bad as far as show bags go, I have to say.
It really is ticking off all the tact, though, you wouldn't possibly ever really use. Jigsaws and playing cards and... Yeah.
Well, you don't buy show bags to get, practical handyman tools for the house. Like, what do you expect a show bag to have in it?
Yeah, that's why I always went for the consumables, the Coca-Cola and the,
Oh, yeah. This has got a lunch bag, like a cooler thing to put your lunch in. And then there is some iron-on stickers, iron-on patches for clothes, bags, and accessories. And this has a range of things on there, like the No Soup for You Soup Nazi and a whole range of things. Vandelay Industries sticker, and the puffy shirt, of course, and all that stuff.
I did think, Tim, this isn't like an official podcast idea, but I think it is a cool podcast idea. My show bag. If you went to the Royal Adelaide show and there was the Tim Hine show bag that fans of Tim Hine could buy, what would be in it?
That is a very good idea for a podcast. The Tim Hine show bag.
I mean, it would be wild and dangerous, obviously.
It would be wild and dangerous. Buy at your own risk. I imagine, there'd be a few things in there. There'd be the Tim Hine guitar pick, plectrum.
Yes.
Yes. There'd be a spoon. There'd be a Bible. Every good show bag has a Bible. Yes.
Yes, very good. Any particular edition of the Bible, or seeing we're going there?
Oh, look, I mostly use the New Revised Standard Version, which is the sort of most accurate from the Greek. But I do also like The Message. People picking up the Bible for the first time, grab The Message by Eugene Peterson. That's an easy to read one.
You're not going to chuck in a King James for old time's sake?
No. Although, no. What else would it have in it? I mean, it's a bit like it might have a cool ring. Like I have these rings of my father that I wear, and so maybe you could have your own Tim ring,
like a plastic replica. Yeah,
yeah, that's right.
What about Tim Hine playing cards and Jigsaw?
That's true. I do remember you pushing me once to make a Tommy Ball Tim calendar with glossy photos of me in all sorts of postures.
I haven't ruled that out yet. So let's an iced coffee, a Farmers Union iced coffee.
Yes, which I'm drinking here at the moment. Traditional podcast drink, very good. It would surely have a piece of chicken, or at least a KFC gold card, platinum card, or black card. They are, aren't they?
KFC black card. You've just put the value of this showbag up considerably in my eyes, but yeah.
Maybe there'd be a black cap, would there? Even though I have my blue cap here, Liverpool blue cap, but now it's become
That's got to be black, that cap.
It's not.
That cap's black.
No, it's dark blue. I don't really tend to wear black. I have black jeans, but maybe you'd have some black jeans.
What would be in the Brady Harron showbag?
The Brady Harron. Oh, well, there's a huge, basically everything on the shelf behind you. Like you've got all your stuff, your showbag out around your room. You've got
my office is one big showbag.
It really is. Your office has got so much cool mementos, so many cool mementos from your work. There's space stuff there, and there's stuff from your other podcast as well, Hello Internet, and then you have all sorts of science paraphernalia. So the periodic table of elements would be in there.
I've got lava. I was just looking here. I've got some lava from Iceland there on the shelf. I've got a fossil over there.
Fossils. There were genuine fossils in the show bags this year. Get 2 red rippers and a fossil. That's a great show bag.
There'd be some autographed astronaut moon memorabilia.
Yeah, that's true. There's a little bit of Unmade stuff as well. So there's the Unmade cassette and an Unmade spoon. Surely we'd both have a bit of that in there. That's
all right. Anyway, that's not an official idea, but thank you for unbagging the Seinfeld Showbag with us. We'll have some pictures in the show notes of the items in there if Tim's daughter agrees to take the photos for us, because that's more photos than I can depend on Tim to take.
I'm useless at taking photos with an iPhone of an object and not getting the shadow of the phone on the object. It doesn't matter what angle I'm on. It's just I can't do it.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
We've got to arrange some lessons for you. Okay, Tim, it's time for my idea.
Oh, yes.
I thought this podcast idea was rubbish, and it may well be rubbish, but it's kind of, in my head, it suddenly has grown on me, and I see great potential in it, and I'll explain why shortly. This has been on my list for a long time, but I was finally prompted to do it by something that happened recently, and that was the death of a man named James Lovelock. James Lovelock was an English scientist, environmentalist, and futurist. I have to admit, I didn't know a lot about him. He's quite well known and quite famous in some circles. He died on the 26th of July, 2022, at the ripe old age of 103.
Wow.
But the thing that was interesting is that he died on his birthday.
Wow.
My podcast idea is called Died on Their Birthday. And it's a series of episodes, profiles, vignettes about interesting people around the world and through history. And the one thing they all have in common is they just so happened to die on their birthday.
There you go. That is an interesting idea. Certainly that makes for a very nice, neat, clean tombstone, doesn't it? I mean, I just like the symmetry.
Just put a little ditto mark under the birthday. So you might be wondering, Brady, who are famous people or interesting people who have died on their birthday?
It's like you're reading my mind. Who are they?
Yes. So if you look up like lists on the internet, there's a few standard lists and names that always appear. One name that always appears that probably shouldn't, because it's probably not true, is William Shakespeare.
Oh.
He is said to have died on his birthday. But they don't really know when Shakespeare was born, only when he was baptised, and they use that as his birth date. So Shakespeare almost certainly didn't die on his birthday.
No.
But he is one that's on all the lists. Another one you'll often find is the Swedish Hollywood actress Ingrid Bergman.
Oh, yeah.
And another one you'll often find is Machine Gun Kelly, who is some criminal I'm not particularly familiar with, but he's always on the list. And there weren't many other famous people on the list. And I thought, well, this is a bit of a shame, because it's not going to be very interesting. If there aren't lots of interesting, famous celebrities who died on their birthday, where's my podcast going to go? And then I found another list, and it was over 70 people who are noteworthy in some way who died on their birthday. And it suddenly occurred to me, that's what's good about this idea. It's going to be a way to talk about and introduce people to historical figures who weren't necessarily famous. They're not the same old George Washington, Abraham Lincoln famous people. They're going to be a little bit more off-piste and people you wouldn't expect. And our selection criteria just is going to throw up all sorts of interesting people. I've got a list here of the 77, and I'm just going to semi-randomly throw some of them out just to show you that, this could be interesting. Like, there'll be things like, a Romanian communist activist or an Austrian actor and things like that. But let me look at a few. I've run the highlighter through here. There's a surprising number of Dutch writers who died on their birthday, actually.
That could be because the Dutch traditionally have this really incredible birthday cake. Like, they have this Dutch mocha cake, so they're not very good at food, but the Dutch often have this, really creamy coffee cake. So maybe it just polishes them off at a certain age, like they get a heart attack.
Hold that thought, because that's something I want to come back to. But yeah, so actually, Corrie ten Boom, who's a Dutch writer I had heard of.
Oh yeah, legend.
Died on their birthday. We've got a magician and a poet here, Andrew Chumbly. Saint John of God, who was a Portuguese friar and a saint. 8th of March 1495 to 8th of March 1550. John Harrison, who is a famous English clockmaker. People familiar with maritime clocks will know John Harrison, so that would be a good episode. And Johannes Hevelius, who I knew as an astronomer also. A Hawaiian monarch here that I had not heard of, Lot Capoeira or something, died on the 11th of December 1872 at the age of 42. Like, I don't know much about Hawaii having a monarchy even, so that would be an interesting podcast episode. You just use that as an excuse. Levi Parsons Morton, who was a vice president of the United States. King Henry I of Portugal. How did Portugal end up with a king called Henry? Anyway, born and died on his birthday in the 1500s. The wife of D.H. Lawrence, Franklin Delano Roosevelt Jr., the son of FDR, born and died on birthday. Elizabeth of York, a Queen of England. But this is the best one. This is a Scottish-born politician who became a Premier of Tasmania, a state close to your heart, of course, Sir James Milne Wilson. And the reason his being born and dying on his birthday is especially amazing is he was born on the 29th of February, 1812, leap day.
Oh, yes.
And then died on the leap day, 29th of February, 1880.
Oh.
So born and died on a leap day.
That's great.
Awesome.
So that moves it being a chance of 1 in 365 to 1 in 4 times 365, doesn't it? As the chances of the day.
This is interesting, right? What is the probability of dying on your birthday? You quite rightly say 1 in 365. All things being equal, I guess you should be right. But you mentioned that cake, that the rich Dutch cake that maybe could finish you off on your birthday. So here's the question. Are you more likely or less likely to die on your birthday because of other external factors? Like, are you more likely to do something risky on your birthday, like a bungee jump or a parachute jump that could finish you off? Are you less likely to die on your birthday because it's usually old people who die? They often get visited on their birthday, so they're not going to be left alone, so they're less likely to die alone, unattended. Does that help you stay alive on your birthday? There are all these different factors that that could mean you're more likely or less likely to die on your birthday. What way does it tilt? I don't know. I think you might be less likely to die on your birthday, judging by the lists I've been looking at, because there just aren't that many famous people on the lists. So I think maybe your birthday is a safe day. But I don't know. I'd be interested to know what you think and what listeners think.
Well, you're right, too. That's true. I wonder if you're more likely to die the day after your birthday, when you're feeling sad and it's all over and you're suddenly realising you're a year older. You know?
Yeah. You had a hard day of drinking the day before, maybe, and
Lots of cake and, rich food and,
Died on Your Birthday is my podcast idea. A series of profiles of people through history who just so happened to die on their birthday. Nothing else links them other than that.
What about Jesus, who not only was he born at Christmas, but he died at Easter? How's that for a coincidence?
Very nice. He liked the big holidays, didn't he?
Nice idea. That's a good way to get into some...
Would you like to die? Would you, if you were given the choice, because I'm afraid to tell you this, Tim, but you will die one day.
We all will.
Would you rather die on your birthday or not on your birthday?
I don't mind.
No?
Maybe yes, only because... there's that sense when you think of yourself as an old man with the family around and being there with them. So maybe on your birthday, they're more likely to be there. So maybe that's, they save on flights. You know what I mean? It's one, if they're far away somewhere, then they're more likely to be there.
Look, I don't know how you're going to die, Tim, but one thing I do know, you're going to be doing something wild and dangerous.
Wild and dangerous. like writing a song.
Yeah.
Tapping into my rebellious spirit.
Delivering a sermon.
Wild and dangerous. When the girls were young, for a little while I had them convinced that my nickname as a kid was Dances with Wolves.
In fact, your nickname at school was Dancers Like David Silver.
That's right.
That is a Brady and Tim in joke if ever I've heard one.
That certainly is.
Look it up, people. Look it up.
David Silver.
Why did you? What reason did you give them for your nickname being Dances with Wolves?
Just that I was like a wild guy. It's just a cool name.
Dances with Wolves.
Yeah. Now I'm absolutely surrounded here with Seinfeld stuff that I haven't packed away because it would make noise and stuff. So it's just spread out in front of me. It's like
you go ahead and I'll give you a few seconds to pack it up while we prepare for our Story Blocks ad. So while Tim packs up his Seinfeld memorabilia there in front of him, I want to tell you that today's episode has been brought to you by Story Blocks.
Just because I'm packing up during the ad doesn't mean I don't massively appreciate Story Blocks and strongly endorse them to everyone.
You know Story Blocks. Go to storyblocks.com/unmade. Check out their demand-driven library of royalty-free 4K and HD footage, templates for things like After Effects and Premiere Pro, music, sound effects, which I've been tapping into this week for a number file video I was making. I needed a sound effect of two bubbles colliding. Found a lovely one on Storyblocks that I was able to download and use royalty-free instantly. Storyblocks have subscriptions that fit any budget, including their unlimited all access, which gives you unlimited downloads. Check them out, people. Storyblocks.com/unmade. Crucial tool in my creative toolkit. And this week, I'm going to do something that I enjoy doing, and that is trying to create videos and special creations based on material relating to the Unmade podcast. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take Finn's cover of The Man in Black. We're going to play it again for you. It's so good, why wouldn't you want to listen to it again? But also, if you're watching the video version, I'm going to have a music video, a film clip that I've made for it using entirely Storyblocks material. If you're listening to the podcast just, on audio, out on a walk with a dog, I'll also put a link in the notes to this music video on YouTube so you can go and watch it. You can listen to the song with my Storyblocks made music video. Because I think this, more than anything, demonstrates the utility of Storyblocks, how useful it is, how vast the collection is, how you can create anything. Take it away, Finn, and thank you, Storyblocks.
man in black.
Promised us foods, but all we've got is
And he's back. The man is back.
the man in black. The man in black has a KFC snack.
He gave in to his craving.
But the man in black, the man in black's gonna bounce back. Gonna bounce back. The man looks up, moonlight bright on the altar.
The moon's full.
The road is long, but the man in black never falters. Never falters. Say no, chicken dinner.
He's a man. That much we know.
100 puckles in, the ideas are running thin.
And he's in black. Always in black. The man slowly turns, staring across the graveyard. Injustice is obsidian cap to obscure his eyes, and withdraws from his pocket a golden spoon. The man in black is back.
That address again, storyblocks.com/unmade. Check them out. And Tim, I think you're just about finished packing up your Seinfeld Showbag.
I have. I'm back. There we go. Thank you for that. Thank you, Storyblocks.
All right, here it is. Spoon of the week. What have you got from the Hine family collection today?
I've pulled out this one. It's a little bit different. I've seen it a few times in the collection and looked over it, put it back, but I've pulled it out today. It's quite a simple, austere spoon from the Salvation Army, the very sort of famous church and offshoot charity, the Salvation Army. And my dad was in the Salvation Army many, many, many years ago when he first came out. Well, in Holland growing up, and then when he first came to Australia. And this spoon, I think, dates from quite a while ago. As you can see, it's got a pretty simple stem. The scoopy bit has the, it has the Salvation Army crest in there. I don't know if that's their current crest and logo or whether it's like one from a while ago. But
It's sort of etched into the scoopy bit, which is a nice touch. It makes us feel more permanent.
it does, yeah. It's plain on the back, but up the top of the stem, it's got 3 letters, C, B, and F, written on top. You know how sometimes football logos have 3 letters sort of on top of one another, like the name of the university or something like that, or like the Carlton Football Club, like people have. People in Australia will know the Carlton Football Club, but
It's a lovely handle in that the letters are kind of sculpted, aren't they, into each other. It's not like just like a piece of enamel at the top with a picture on it. It's like, if you have a look at the picture in the show notes, the letters are actually like 3-dimensional over each other and stuff. It's really nice.
it is nice. You can see through it. It's, really quite beautiful. The thing that was perplexing, though, is the letters are C, B, F, which the Salvation Army doesn't spell. And so I was wondering what this was. What's CBF? And I went Googling all over the place to try and find it, and then couldn't find anything. So in desperation, asked Mum, who actually owned the spoon. And that was that was a stroke of genius, because while she didn't know, she actually got onto one of her Salvation Army friends who got back and said they think it stands for Christ, Blood and Fire, which sounds pretty full on. But Christ is Jesus Christ, who's, the church is about, and blood and fire is the motto of the Salvation Army. So, and if you look
Which is also
inside-
etched into the Scoopy bit.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, yeah. So I should have noticed that. So blood being the blood of Jesus Christ, and who died to, take away the sin of the world, and fire, the fire of the Holy Spirit. So it's like a spiritual reference. So CBF. It makes it look like it's a beer, which is ironic, seeing the Salvation Army people don't tend to not drink alcohol, or a football logo, but it feels of its time a while ago, mid-century, and a nice, austere, simple spoon.
Lovely spoon. And it makes me realise if we made a Tim Hine commemorative spoon, at the top we could have WAD.
WAD.
Wild and dangerous.
Wild. Mad, bad, and dangerous to know. That was him. That's me.
Yep.
Yes.
Very lovely spoon. Thank you, Salvation Army. I always remember my abiding memory of the Salvation Army is really inappropriate, actually, now I think about it, because it's associated with going to the pub after work on Friday nights.
Right.
And every Friday night we would go and have drinks. And once we got to a stage where we'd had enough drinks that we were a little bit looser with our money, that's always just when the person from the Salvation Army would turn up with their money collection, and they would sell you copies of the War Cry, which is like the Salvation Army newspaper or newsletter.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and they would come around to us, all us journalists who'd had 4 or 5 beers and were willing to be really friendly and say, would you like to buy a War Cry? And we'd all buy a copy of the War Cry and pat them on the back and that. And then we always had a game where we would put a little bit of money on the bar, everyone, and everyone had to guess how many photos there would be in the War Cry of people wearing glasses. Because so many people in the Salvation Army are a bit older and wear glasses. So there's always pictures of people wearing glasses in the War Cry. So everyone would go, I guess it's 3, I guess it's 8 and that. And then we'd all have our bet. And then we'd thumb through the War Cry and count how many people there were wearing glasses. But sometimes you would take a bet and you'd go a really high number, like 30, because there was always a chance there would be a group photo of some Salvation Army group that had gone off on a mission somewhere, and there'd be like 50 people in the photo and half of them were wearing glasses, and that would really rack your numbers up.
That's an awesome game. That's hilarious. That's great. They're very famous for sort of tambourines and pea soup because they do so much work with the homeless and stuff like that.
Yeah.
One of the biggest charities in Australia. But yeah, that's great. I love it.
Huge.
Yeah.
Huge. Very huge charitable organisation.
So worthy of a souvenir spoon, of which there are several. There will be more over coming months, I think, because in the collection. But this one was I think the most elegant.
And speaking of charities and giving things away, it's that time of the show. It's that time of the show where we give away prizes to Patreon supporters. Tim's cracking out the guitar, I noticed, because I think maybe we're going to have a bit of a musical interlude here while we announce the winners. Tim, you're all tuned up and ready to go?
Pretty much.
All right. Let's start with our Unmade podcast souvenir spoon. Forged and struck here in the UK, an Unmade podcast souvenir spoon is going to Tristan from Portland.
Keep reading, man. I'm playing in the background.
I thought you were going to go like, Tristan.
Oh, I can't concentrate on 2 things at once, man. I'll try.
All right, then.
All right, I'll try.
All right, let's go again. Tristan from Portland.
Tristan. See, I've lost it. See, I've just...
Thanks a lot, Tristan. All right. A Sofa Shop mixtape is going to Jared L. from Vancouver in Canada.
L for love.
All right. And Unmade Podcast souvenir spoon collector cards, a handful are going to Kevin C. from Utah.
Kevin. It's not a name that appears in a lot of songs either, does it?
No. Christopher R. from Alabama.
Christopher R.
George L. from Florida.
What's that Roxette song? The big L. The big
Oh,
love.
the big love. The big love.
Something,
yeah. Bigger the
something.
better.
Small world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good. Here's a good one. We also got cards going to Remo from New York State. Do you remember the movie Remo?
No.
Loved that movie. Loved it. Fred Ward. And last but not least, and stopping an American clean sweep of the cards, we have Hugo from Hong Kong. And if you can't write a song about Hugo from Hong Kong, then you're not a true songwriter.
Hugo. Goes on like that for a while.
Right.
And then it goes, Hong Kong. Hugo. Hong Kong. That one needs a bit of work.
Go to patreon.com/unmadefm to become a Patreon supporter and possibly have your name desecrated by Tim on the podcast as well.
Hugo. Hong Kong.
Kevin thinks Kevin got off lightly after all that.
There's always the great one with the Eric Clapton. 'Cause I know he don't belong here with Kevin. You know, Tears in Heaven.
Very good. Now it's time for
Moon of the otherwise known as the toilet break here in the Unmade podcast. Anyone needs to head off now, we perfectly understand. Go ahead, Brady.
I want to do more fictional moons like Endor. So if anyone's got any fictional moons they want to suggest, let me know. I asked my wife and she gave me a fictional moon from her childhood. And I've become very familiar with this moon because of her over the years. This moon is called Button Moon. Button Moon was a 1980s television show for children here in England. And basically it was puppets. It was a 10-minute show. There were puppets. There was this character called Mr. Spoon and his family. And all the puppets were made of like kitchen utensils. Everything was made of stuff from the kitchen.
There's Button Moon, shining very brightly in blanket sky. It shines down on the Spoon family's garden. Hello, Tina Teaspoon. Hello, Mr. Spoon.
And every episode they would get into a rocket made of a baked beans can.
Right.
And fly into the sky, which was a black blanket. It was called Blanket Sky. And up in the sky was this big yellow button, like a button from your jumper or your sweatshirt. It was a big yellow button with 4 holes in it. You know how buttons have 4 holes in it to stitch them. And they would fly in the rocket up to this moon and have a little adventure on the moon. Sometimes they would look through a telescope back down to their home planet, which was called Junk Planet, I think. But the show was called Button Moon, kids' TV show. And the thing that I think was most memorable about it, and anyone who's English knows instantly, is the theme song. I think at the start of the show they say, "We're off to Button Moon."
Off to Button Moon, we follow Mr. Spoon, Button Moon.
And at the end, it's always, "We've been to Button Moon." It changes to past tense.
We've been to Button Moon, we followed Mr. Spoon, Button Moon, Button Moon, Button Moon.
And it's just one of those songs that is etched into the brains of English children. And my wife has been singing it since I met her. And after years, I finally went onto YouTube and now I learned it. And now I sing it all the time. We always sing Button Moon in our house. And here is your interesting fact about the song. It's a real earworm. I apologise to people who are going to have it stuck in their head now. It was co-written by a guy called Peter Davison, who played the 5th Doctor in Doctor Who.
Oh, right.
So Button Moon was written by Doctor Who, which was my new fact I found out last night.
Peter Davison. Yeah, so he was in a few things, wasn't he, actually?
Well, he was in All Creatures Great and Small, which I bet you loved because it's that kind of mushy show that you'd like.
Love that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a great show. The old version of All Creatures Great and Small.
Yeah.
Button Moon. I've never heard of it. It's amazing. A lot of these English things made their way to Australia back in the early 80s because Australia didn't have a budget to make its own stuff. But I've never heard this one.
No, I didn't know it, but it's become a big part of my life now because it's such a part of her life. We've been to Button Moon. And my wife always gets mad now when I sing it at her because she knows it's going to be stuck in her head for the next 3 days. It's her sofa shop.
Right. Nice. Yeah. And do you want to tell us any more about this moon?
Well, I don't know. I don't know many statistics about Button Moon, as it's just a yellow button sewed to a black cloth. I don't know its orbital period or mass or who discovered it. There you go. But get in touch. unmadefm@gmail.com or on the Twitter or on the Reddit and all the usual places. Give me some fictional moons that I can throw at Tim, because I think his tolerance for real moons is limited and I can only use them occasionally.
I can't think of any other fictional moons.
Okay, all right, well, you see.
Although you could be making, or they all could be fictional. Like you could just be making the other ones up. You say they're real, and you send me a blurry photo of a dot, and then you rabbit on about Greek mythology and their name, so I wouldn't know the difference. But
who knows?
Button Moon looks one of the more legitimate ones you've brought, actually. To be, I Google it and it's there, so that's it. Yeah.
Go and watch it. Go and watch an episode. They're quite cute.
I will.
Button Moon, be back soon. Button Moon.
So, Tim, I think we've got time for an idea from you. You got a quickie?
I do. I've just got a quick one, which is in some ways quite obvious, but I do actually think is pretty cool. And it came from an idea, a real occurrence that happened this week. This idea is called I've Been Sent an Old Photo. So...
Hang on. Let me guess what it's about.
Well, if I can find the blooming thing, there we go. I've been sent an old photo. This one was sent by a friend of mine. He's a bit like a brother, really, called Duncan. And it's from sometime in the 90s. And it's coming through to you right now, man. This is a photo of me playing cricket. And although you'll allege that it vaguely resembles me playing cricket, it's playing one of my great forward strokes, which is either a block or a forward drive or a lightsaber attack.
I'm looking at it now. Do you know what? So this picture is so Australian it hurts because it's playing cricket in a driveway using a big black wheelie bin as the stumps. In cricket, you stand in front of these three sticks called the wicket and the stumps. But when you're a kid and you haven't got stumps, or you're playing on a concrete driveway so you can't drive them into the soil, you just use your bin. So playing cricket with a bin as the stumps is so iconic. And there's a brick wall behind with a boiler attached to the wall.
The back of the
quite
house.
Retro, cool car. Whose car's that? That red sporty car. That's a cool looking car.
I don't know. I don't know what house we're at. I assume we're at Duncan's house. It's not my house.
Yeah.
But I don't know whose car that would be. Maybe he's one of his brothers or something.
It's very Australian. It's sunny, sunny day and bright shadows. It's as far as Tim's shot goes, it's a good photograph. You've got your eyes on the ball and your head's above the ball, so
that's rare in itself, isn't it?
Yeah. Your technique, there's a bit of a large gap between your bat and your leg, which is a bit dangerous for the ball to go through. So I would critique that.
Yeah.
And your top arm should be more bent over the ball.
Elbow forward a bit more.
I'm going to give that shot. I'm going to give that a 6.5 out of 10. But it looks like you've hit the ball low on the bat there, so it looks like you've kept the ball away from your stumps, so you've done the job.
There is a little, you can just see the ball. It looks red, actually. Normally we would play with a tennis ball in the backyard, but that does seem to be, it's a very vague red dot. Resembles many of your moon photos that you send, except it's red instead of white. It's just sort of a blurry dot next to something.
Yeah.
The thing that I do like about this photo as well is look at the shadow. The shadow actually makes out a really interesting object that could be like my sporting logo if I ever went into sporting merchandise.
like the Michael Jordan Jumpman, yeah.
Yeah. It just looks like a ballet dancer falling over, really, or something like that.
We'll see if we can get that. I'll get my T-shirt people onto that, man, and see what we can do for you.
So there we go. It's a very sloppy pair of jeans, I must say. We forget in the 90s how sort of baggy our jeans were compared to the tighter style now.
So your podcast is basically just dredging up an old photo and talking about it like this, and
Just my photos, yeah.
basically our life.
That's right.
Looking at old photos from the 90s and reminiscing about our childhood.
That's right.
Basically the Unmade podcast. You've just reinvented the Unmade podcast.
Well, the reason I like this one is it was unexpected. I like the idea that it was sent to you. So it's not something you've chosen yourself. It's something that someone sent to you and gone, hey, look at this. And you go, oh, my goodness, which is what I'm always doing with you. And but it's...
I think you like it because you look so thin.
Oh, that is nice, isn't it? Look at it.
Look at that.
Good at that. Because I was eating so much KFC at that time. And at that time, that age of your life, it just disappears. I don't know where it goes. It revisits you in your 30s. But in those early 20s, it just... it's just gone.
Classic cricket shot there. I like that idea. I love the idea of digging up old photos and just talking about them. The disadvantage is, as a podcast, you're pretty reliant on your listeners to take the time to look at the picture you want them to be looking at.
Yeah, they've got to glance down and hit the show notes, don't they?
But that's not that much effort, just to have a quick look at the show notes and look at a picture and then hear you talk about it for the next half hour.
Especially when it's a beautiful cricket shot like this. I mean, look at the way I'm dragging my foot. That's just all class, isn't it?
You got your foot there behind the crease. No chance you're going to be stumped. That's pretty good. That's a like I said, 6.5. A few technical deficiencies, but I'll let it go. It's a good photo, by the way.
I do think, and of course back then no cameras, so this is like a camera photo. I have reached the
no
stage.
phones, you mean? There were no cameras.
What did I say?
No phones.
No, that's right.
Back then there were no cameras.
No cameras.
This is a painting
done by a sketch artist.
It was done by someone with one of those box brownies. No, it was a guy under a cloth with one of those things that has an exploding flash.
Freeze, boom. That's right. It's that's just a backdrop, and I'm at a fair somewhere standing with holding a prop in front of a backdrop of an Australian.
You had to stand still for 20 minutes.
Well, they like on the Flintstones where they had a bird chisel out the picture onto a stone, like as a memento. Yeah. I like that. That was cool. I've reached the age now where I'm shown a photo like that and I don't remember it. I just don't remember it. Normally it takes you straight back, but I've got no memory of that.
You'd remember someone owning that car, though.
Yeah,
You'd remember that red... You'd remember if your friend of yours had a red sporty car like that.
Yeah. That was an age before sporty cars. We were still in our first couple of cars. But that must be a friend or relative or someone. I don't know. If anyone knows, including my friend Duncan, who will be listening, please contact me and let me know.
Tim, do you have any secret words you needed to embed in the show today, or
I forgot.
Forgot to embed them, or forgot to ask for them?
I'm just saying the word forgot. That's all I'm saying. Read into that what you like.
Look at that. Look at that.
That's meta, isn't it?
Meta. Layers upon layers. Enigmas wrapped in mysteries.
I'm a wild and dangerous man. Even when it comes to secret words.